Hi, and welcome to the UNAS Midwatch podcast. Thanks for listening. If you're enjoying our podcast and would really like to help us out, please subscribe and leave a review wherever you are listening. It really does help us grow our audience. If you are on Facebook or Instagram, head on over and subscribe and follow us so you never miss an episode. We also have a Patreon available, so you can help us keep this podcast going. Just look us up and become part of the UNAS today. Now sit back and enjoy the show.
Shops there too.
I mean, can you really have a hipster without a tattoo?
No.
And
Or a
there's
beard.
man right next to
Beard
the
and a
art
man
of
bun.
Shaving.
There's a man bun store too,
Man
down
bun
there,
store.
and a flannel store next to that.
You can buy a man bun.
Like, I look like a lumberjack, but really, I'm just
It's like
well
getting
manicured.
It's like getting weave, but it's a man bun weave.
That's
Just braid it into your hair, or glue it onto your skull.
There you go.
What the hell conversation did I just walk into?
Man buns.
Hey,
Hello, friendo.
hi.
What's up, man? How was your sleep study?
How'd you know I got a sleep study?
We know everything.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah, come on.
Think
That's
your
why
watch
you took an
stops
extra
working
few
when
days.
you leave this ship?
I was supposed to go back to school, and then when I got there, the first day I was there, they sent me to a sleep study, which I thought was really weird because they said that someone else in the barracks said that they heard me snoring. But then when I went to 2 back-to-back sleep studies,
Wow,
because they
that's
said
bad.
that the command ordered a second one for me, and I was like, what do you mean? What, did they order the first one? What are you guys not telling me here? And they said it got put in by someone called Gunny Sergeant Doom.
That's close enough.
You son of a bitch.
You deserve it.
Bills
You
did
needed
come
it.
by and was like, hey, man.
You guys
You
could have
look
at
like
least
tired.
told me that I was going for a sleep study. I packed up stuff to go to school for 2 weeks.
Yeah, but instead you just got
Did
to
you-
fucking sleep.
I
Did
texted
you pack
It
pajamas?
was terrible.
Did you pack pajamas?
Yeah.
Then you packed for the sleep study.
Well,
And school.
I
You
also-
were well
I-
prepared.
well, here's the
Well
problem.
prepared.
Here's the problem. When you say, did I pack pajamas, what you're really saying is, did you not pack pajamas? Because remember, I sleep naked. So I showed up for a sleep study, and they told me to put on pajamas. I didn't have any.
You're bad.
So what'd they give you?
I had to go buy pajamas. But if I
There
would have
you
known
go.
in advance I was going to a sleep study, I could have brought pajamas.
But you don't have any. Because you sleep naked.
Well, I still have pajamas, you know. If there's someone else in the house, like, I'm not just going to walk around naked.
Sleeping
Like,
naked is like people who air dry. They just have no responsibilities.
I feel
It's just-
like we've had this conversation.
It's just really weird for me having my junk flop all over the place.
Yeah. I mean, if you don't have to worry about that, obviously, it's why he sleeps naked.
Obviously.
It's not a thing.
And we have these super like fancy silky sheets, and if my junk rubs on it the right way, I get a fucking raging hard on. So I don't want to have all that in the middle of the night all the time.
No.
At the sleep study?
No.
So that is the...
So we're talking about sleeping naked and why I don't.
Yeah.
Junk all flops around and you get those real silky smooth sheets, and you turn over, it rubs on it the right way. You're like, whoop, boner.
So 2 things with that. Number 1, have you ever noticed that as you get older, your marriage or relationship or whatever slowly graduates from, like, having sex in the middle of the night is cool to, like, leave me the fuck alone, I want to get my sleep, we can always catch up till tomorrow?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's called life.
Yeah. I wasn't briefed on this in advance. I didn't know that I would hit that point. And then
Nobody's
one day it just
ever
happened, and I
briefed
felt
on
so
any of this.
old.
There's
Let
no-
me break you some new news. Is we can catch up on this tomorrow is a lie.
That's also fair.
That does not happen.
Also, part 2 to this.
It's now or never.
Guess what happened during my sleep study?
You had sex?
Apparently,
There's a camera on the bed, right? That's
No, so you know how like some people when you sleep, like you like half like jerk off in the middle of the night, like you don't really
No.
like
Wait, what?
jerk off,
Yeah.
No.
but you're just like you know,
That's
like
not a
little
thing for
couple
normal
pumps
people.
or something, you know.
No.
No.
What?
Well, I hate all of you. I was really hoping at least one of you guys would understand. Well,
I mean,
long
if
story
I do
short.
do it, I don't know that I do it.
Yeah,
so.
I'm sleeping.
So everyone
I
does.
tell myself no because I'm really tired. We'll just put this off till tomorrow.
Just you're like slapping your hand away from yourself.
it's like-
no.
Get
Well,
out of
The
here.
No,
reason
stay
I
away
bring it
from me.
up is because I got interrupted twice in one night by the doc because they came in and were like, "Listen, man, you can't
You need some help?
you can't jerk off during this. Like, you need to sleep." And I didn't know I was doing it, so like I was just like half asleep, like right. Fucking doctor comes in and like grabs my shoulder, and I violently woke up with like dick in hand, like ah. The guy was like, "Hey, you need to stop."
And then
doing
he
that."
finished.
No, he was like, "Hey, you need to stop doing that," and it took me a second to comprehend because I had my hand on my junk.
I'd have been like, "You just want to give me a hand? I can. If we just finish it now, it won't happen anymore."
The
Have you
worst
ever heard
part
of a
was
Dutch rudder?
What are you dreaming about where this
Well,
becomes
obviously something sexual.
obviously.
Right, like, but it has to be often enough. Like, yeah, you guys know when this happens? No.
You've never woken up in the middle of the night and just
Nope.
been like, "I need to rub one out," and then you get great sleep after that.
No.
Nope.
Nope.
You're definitely only night beater here.
Because that shit spikes my T, my testosterone, and I have a hard time going back to sleep.
It depends
Truth.
because I don't know. Maybe for me, like I get that spike and then the crash right afterwards.
My
You get
crash
that like
is like 3
immediate
hours.
KO.
Mine's like 3 hours later.
Yeah. No, I sleep like a
Mine, with
baby.
me, it's like drinking that second beer. Like 1 beer, I'm okay. 2 beers, I'm ready to rage.
Is that like jerking off twice in a row?
No, no.
I don't understand.
Like-
How did that?
It correlates to sex. Like that boost of testosterone for me, afterwards, I want to rage for like hours.
Yep.
I don't like, ugh.
That was a stretch analogy.
Dude, so you're telling me right now that you have never like tried to go to sleep and you're like, "Man, I just cannot fall asleep.
You're changing the scenario.
I'm going to rub one out."
Yeah.
First, you
That's
said
a
you're
fall
half
prior.
asleep and you're halfway doing it.
Yeah,
And then all
you're
of
a
a sudden
s-
you woke up in the middle of the night, and now you're saying you can't go to sleep in the first place.
No. I'm saying like depending on the situation. So you are the type of person who, if you're awake and can't fall asleep, you can't just rub one out to make yourself fall asleep afterwards?
No, I'd be awake.
That is so weird to me. There are so many times in this life where I've been like, and then I go to sleep afterwards.
Apparently, why you sleep?
So before you continue with your story, because I really don't want to hear it. We've already established that you're a nighttime
Sleep beater.
Yeah, dreamer beater. If you're having these dreams, right?
Mm-hmm.
I wonder which came first. You had the dreams, and that's
Who
how you
came
fell
first?
into your hand, or did you fall into your hand, and then that caused the dream?
So let me
What do you
explain.
mean, fall into your hand?
Like, is
Let me
just
explain
Oh,
something.
I tripped.
wang-
Fell on your
wang
dick.
to
I
palm.
fell into masturbation.
Since apparently I'm like the one person here that actually does this, let me explain to you the best part about this. You ever had one of those really good, like, vivid dreams, and then you wake up and you're like, it's gone, like it's completely
dream is
it
gone?
slips away. Yeah.
Every time I have a dream.
Instead, for me,
I'm pretty
if
vivid dreamer
I have
also.
a sexual dream and I actually like beat off or something in the middle of the night, I remember it the next day, like pretty vividly.
Here's
Like,
a question.
Don't know
In-
why. Those are the only ones that I remember vividly, but I will remember every single part of it.
In your
The whole
sex
30
dreams,
seconds
do
that it
y'all
lasts.
ever finish?
Like in the dream and in real life?
No, in the dream.
I have before.
Yep. I have been able to hold both at the same time, consciously aware of what I am doing while the dream is still going.
Well, this is called lucid dreaming, and I was directing
No,
it
that's not
myself.
lucid dreaming.
We don't care about lucid dreaming. I'm talking about real life dreaming.
Mhm.
Okay, just
Yeah, that was
regular,
real life
normal
dreaming.
person. We've already established you're
That is not normal dreaming.
not so normal in your world.
In my
So,
world,
to answer
So
your
me
question-
and Leon's world. This is more of a conversation for us three, not nocturnal Nancy over there.
Nocturnal emissions is the scientific word for it.
just made that.
So finish your.
No, that's a real thing. That's
Nocturnal
you finishing
emissions?
in
Yeah,
your
it's a real
dreams
thing.
and in real life. And then it's annoying because you're like, You have to get up out of
Clean
bed.
the sheets.
Especially him,
Like-
since he sleeps naked. He's got to do all his laundry and clean up everything.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
if you
just-
slept with pants on, you just have to change your drawers, bro.
I just picture his sheets are just like a myriad of fart juices and sperm now.
Gross.
You stand up in the corner on its own.
Looks like a teepee.
Standing up as a ghost in the corner.
Just a flat sheet.
Gross.
You roll over, and it's like you stepping on the.
It's like rolling
spilled
over.
Rice Krispies in the kitchen, just crunches.
Speaking of which,
Rolling
did you,
on potato chips.
on previous ships, did you ever have a time where you accidentally found somebody's happy sock?
Yes.
Yeah, several times.
I only ever had it
Health
happen
and
to me
comfort
once.
inspections.
No, it was when I was moving into a new rack. Like, we had moved berthings, and I know the person who I swapped racks with, and I found his extremely stiff happy sock stuffed in,
Hey,
like, a
motherfucker,
fucking-
come get this shit.
Yeah.
I asked him about it, and he was like, "I don't know what you're talking about." Like,
I would've
I've
brought
never
it to
used
them.
that slot for anything before, so it
I'd have
must
been
have been
like,
somebody
how
else's.
old are we, dude? We know we jerk off. Come get your fucking sock, man.
And if it's not yours, then there's a lot larger issues that he has spent how many months sleeping next to
Somebody
Also
else's
true.
dead semen.
4 million children.
Also true.
It's like just 4 million babies like just dried up next to his temple.
We had found this slew of old beat socks, and they were just like stiff and gross and in a corner of berthing. Like somebody would finish and just like fling it over in this corner, and they just stayed there. So this guy's out probably like, and there was a good amount. There was like 15 socks over there.
Damn.
So
Impressive.
it was all on this. It was it was a big ball. It wouldn't break up.
Did you play
I mean,
soccer with it?
I could have pulled it apart, but nobody wanted to touch this. So, of course, us being dudes, we all decided to have a game about it, and we held a funeral for it. Imagine all those dead soldiers. Just it was a burial at sea. Oh, yeah. Somebody played that from their phone. We threw it overboard. People were saluting.
Here lies Drew's 65 million unborn children.
Here lies Drew Sheets.
It wouldn't have been me though, because I wouldn't jerk off into a sock.
That's
Like,
true.
I guess because I've never.
It's just in your sheets.
Like, I have to ask this question. Like, you know, because there's times where you have, like, things in your life where you don't want to ask the questions on stuff because you don't want to, like, sound dumb or whatever. I've never jerked off into a sock, right? All I can imagine, though, like, how do you do it? Do you hold the sock open and shoot your load in there? Do you jerk off with the sock, like, in your hand over your junk? I would imagine that would rub it rough. Like, I don't understand. Like, you got to get, like, rug burn on the shaft.
easiest way is you get close to finishing and you put the sock on and just finish.
Okay,
So
I guess
about that
makes
physio
do you put, like,
or
lotion
psychological
on the inside
thing?
or something?
No,
Like,
so you gotta think by the time you're getting close to finish, how sensitive like the head and stuff
Mhm.
is, and just a little bit of extra texture on the sock will just.
I think all
a
this.
little bit of rug burn right on the head. You know?
I think all this sex talk.
I
I
find it
100% know that Drew's gonna be sleep beating tonight.
Maybe.
funny, right? And he's going to remember it vividly. I just think it's funny that we're all grown men, like, still trying to educate ourselves on the formalities of.
But honestly, if I'm gonna jerk off, I'm just gonna be into a girl's mouth. So you can delete that.
Yeah, let's delete that part.
That one might have been just a pinch too much.
So
I'm just saying, if I'm gonna
It's
do
like the
it,
dudes who,
some chick's gonna be there and she's gonna catch it.
It's like the dudes who jerk off on
If there's a
deployment
chick there, I'm not
in the
doing it.
shower. Like, you seen those guys? Like, you ever had to go into and clean a shower on deployment?
Dude, it's so hard to clean that shit up off the fucking.
I had
in
one
a
time.
shower, man. It like fucking sticks to everything.
I
all
had
the
one
heat.
time that I walked
Yeah.
into the shower right after, because it was on deployment on a cruiser, so there was like, I think 80 of us in the berthing, and there's only 4 showers. So there's a line of like 16 people waiting to get in the shower. So as soon as the dude walks out, next person jumps in, right? Guy walks out, I jump in the shower, and I see going down the wall And
wow, the shower stall smells like my sheets at home.
my brain at the moment goes like, oh man, this guy forgot to wash his soap away. And then like the cogs turn, and there's no removable shower head to like clean the walls or anything, right?
You start.
So I'm like standing there with
Cupping
the
your
curtain
hands.
open, like what the fuck? And I'm
Cupping
trying to
your
like
hands against your
sprinkle
chest.
water at the wall as I'm like yelling out at the dude. And then
I'd
the
be like,
ship
hey,
takes
come
a
clean your
roll.
cum off the wall.
Oh no!
The ship takes a roll, and I fall forward. And I
Oh, please tell me when your mouth.
screamed. No,
Please tell me when your mouth.
no. I screamed like a little girl, and my hand not like 3 inches above it,
What is
braced
that?
to stop myself from falling, almost touching it.
Home Alone where they puts a spider on that
Yeah.
dude's face.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was bad.
See, I've done that.
Well, that says
the
how
screaming,
tall he
like,
is.
even just when it rocks
Because
the other way.
the ship took a roll and he put his hand straight out, and it was right at waist level.
Well, I wasn't in the shower. I was outside the shower trying to like throw water at it, so I fell forward, like so.
I'm saying you're short.
You know, another thing
I
that
already know
people
that.
won't understand outside the military is how afraid we are of the swaying shower curtain touching your feet or your calves.
Or anything. God.
Yeah.
Yeah, once
Imagine how
my
much Wuhan virus is collected on that crap.
shower shoes. Yeah. Once my shower shoe broke, stepping into the shower,
Yeah.
and the flip flop hit the shower lip, and my bare foot touched the shower floor. I almost
You gotta
cut it
chop it
off.
off. Yeah. At that
Yeah.
point, it's gone.
I tied it off. I was waiting on it to get purple. There was no coming back from that.
It's like when you
Like,
see the
it's a
dudes
goner.
walking into the shower or the head completely barefoot.
Oh.
Yeah, those fucking heathens.
My first time on the ship, I had worn my shower shoes to the shower, but then kicked them off nicely before stepping over the lip into the cubicle because I didn't know. And
You didn't have to use
Mistake.
shower shoes in boot camp?
I don't know, I've had foot fungus and athlete's foot ever since for 20 years now.
Well, now you know why.
Athlete's foot. Best way to get rid of it? Pee on it.
That's a fact.
Ooh, I got a question for you. Shower peeing, yes or no?
Yep.
Yep.
Sometimes you can't help it, especially when you're like standing there and the water starts getting warmer, warmer, and then you just all of a sudden gotta pee.
Gotta
I'm
release.
not gonna get out of the shower and get my.
I think the
fucking
real
floor
question
all
on
wet
that
and
is:
shit.
is it when it hits you while you're in the shower, or are you one of those weirdos who has to pee before they get in? Turn on the water, hear the water running, and you're like, I can't wait to get in the shower so I can pee. I
No.
know people like that.
Mine just
That's
happens.
weird.
No, there's stuff like that. Turn it on, put your hand in to test the warmth, and you're like, oh, gotta go.
Shower
and then you
peeing
stand
is
there
as
waiting for the shower to
comforting.
warm up to get in the shower to pee. That's what I mean. I've seen people like that. It's like, dude,
Shower peeing is as comforting to me as a sit down pee.
No, at that point, once the shower water is running and I'm waiting for the hot water to arrive, it just becomes one big gigantic urinal. Just stand there freely.
You have a little
pissing all
fucking
on the
urinal
walls.
cake on the drain.
Little aiming spot.
my first roommate I ever had, we had a shower kind of like the one I have, like one of the glass ones with the door that opens at the actual apartment. And we shared one of those like central fucking bathroom ones, right? I walked in there one day. This dude's got the shower running, and he's pissing into the shower from outside the shower. Like, standing there waiting for the water to get warm, and he's just like pissing in the shower. When the fucking toilet is 3 feet to his right. Walked in, I was like, dude, what are you doing? He's just like,
No, haven't you
Peeing?
ever heard the saying, like, if it's yellow, let it mellow, brown, flush it down? I'm trying to be
That's only for
climate
people-
conscious
What do you-
safety, right? No, just
When
hear me
they
out.
are
Except
on
the
water
running shower
water
is
shortages.
gonna debunk your whole thing.
No, the running shower, I'm waiting on the
he's
warmth
gonna
of
waffle
it,
stomp
right?
down the.
But if I have to turn and pee into the toilet bowl and then flush it, there's several gallons being wasted. And just me, knowing that the
1.2
world is going
liters
to
per
end in
flush.
12 years, I know I need to save the whales. So I feel like I'm doing my part for climate change. I don't know. It's just a suggestion that AOC had on Twitter. I'm following those suggestions.
All I know is the yellow, mellow 2 flush. It's for people with water shortages.
Yeah,
Like that's an island term. It wasn't mainland America.
and like
Yeah, have you ever
being
let
on the
pee
I
pool.
understand
sit for
that
an
it
extended
prob-
period of time in your
Oh.
toilet, it stains your shit.
That is gross. Like when
And
it sits
starts
long
to
enough
smell.
to where it creates like a barrier.
Yep.
When I was dating my wife in upstate New York, they had pipes that would freeze sometimes. So in the winter, they'd only flush at certain times. Rightfully so. So if they peed in the middle of the night, they would let it sit there. So in the morning, when you wake up to get that morning pee, and you break that like seal, all the smell hits you all at once of 4 adults peeing overnight and then letting it sit. And it's gross.
I'm just trying to save and preserve water because I know there are starving children all over the world, and I'm just trying to do my part for the globe.
Do you
And
guys
to
remember when
understand
we
their
were-
Thank you,
plight.
Greta.
Do you remember when we were kids and they like made a really big deal about running water and how we were all going to run out of water one day? And
We
then
are.
and then we figured out how to like transition salt water to fresh water and how to reuse water and all those things. Nobody
And
says
then we
anything
figured
about
out how to
it.
melt the ice caps.
But nobody talks about like
It's
wasteful
free water.
we
anymore.
ever need, right
Miami's going to
Yeah.
be underwater soon.
there. Sure.
I mean, have you ever been to
you
Miami?
mean New Orleans because it's below sea level, right?
Yeah.
All the above. All our coastal
I mean,
cities
that's
will be
usually
gone in a decade.
below water at
I was
some
gonna say,
point
have you ever-
during the year, every year.
Have you ever
Yeah.
been to one of those places? It already feels like it's below water from the humidity.
It is unnecessarily humid and unnecessarily hot in
and
New Orleans.
moist.
So, here's another question since you're talking about
Moist.
smelly urine.
Moisture.
Is eating asparagus, but then hours later forget that you ate asparagus,
And then pee and want to eat asparagus again.
and then it's like, yeah, that pee smell just hits you, and you're like, oh right, totally spaced it.
I don't eat asparagus, so I don't know.
You know that's a genetic
Ever?
thing, right?
I don't like it.
Have you had it prepared?
Oh, like pretty much every way you can have it prepared. I
Really?
just don't
Yeah,
like.
I'm not a fan.
Have you ever had it with like peanut butter?
Asparagus?
Okay. So not every way, bro.
Not every
Oh my
way, bro.
God.
I mean, there's certain ways that I would prefer it cooked, and then ways I can't. But asparagus is pretty good.
You know that's a genetic thing, though, right? Being able to smell the asparagus in your pee.
Everything
Only-
is a
only-
genetic thing.
No,
Haven't we
only
already
40%
established
of
this?
people can actually smell the asparagus.
So you're telling me it's like written into my DNA code on
You're
how
done,
my body functions?
It's one of those random things that your body either held or didn't hold. Yeah.
Well, he didn't hold it because he's peeing the asparagus.
One of
Where,
the-
where it should have been a 1, it was a 0. That's why you can smell.
You know, one of the strangest genetic things I've ever seen. You know,
Your
how,
DNA
Whoa.
is
like,
not so
it.
binary.
Fucking nerd.
Did you
out
take
there.
the red pill or the blue pill?
Oh my god!
It is though. It's just the plus or a minus of a protein
Mhm.
or an amino acid.
You know, the
So
most
it
common
is-
genetic thing is the whole wrinkling of your fingers and hands and toes and shit, right? But like nothing else wrinkles. I actually have a friend who does not get wrinkly fingers. Like left his hands underwater for almost 10 minutes, took them out, looked the
Oh.
exact same.
It took me
I
a
was
sec
like,
to
what the
realize
fuck
you're
are you
talking
talking
about.
Yeah. Everybody's hand
You
gets
just get
wrinkly at a
wrinkly
certain
fingers
age.
No, I'm talking about like underwater.
and does not get wrinkly.
Like you're taking a bath or swimming or something, and your fingers get
Say,
wrinkly.
there's a reason they
Nope.
call it nana hands.
He did not.
That's weird.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that
Strange as
dimples are a genetic defect?
I did know that.
There's a lot of weird genetics.
Well, every anomaly with people is a genetic defect of some sort. Yeah, I think if we go back to the first man, we don't know if they were brown-haired, brown-eyed, blonde-haired, blue-eyed. And if that's the original, then everything after that is a genetic defect.
You seen that
That's true.
show
I
where
would
they
imagine
track?
It wouldn't be brown-eyed because brown eyes are the dominant genetic color. So it probably would have had to have been either blue or green.
I
And
don't
then
know.
spun down from there.
You seen that where they track the DNA throughout the world? You
I
can
have.
actually see where it all started.
Yep.
Yeah. Like how he talked about Adam and Eve. The real Adam is only like 100,000 years old, and the real Eve is 400,000. As far back as the DNA can be tracked. That was crazy. And they only took like 100 people from New York and did this test, and were able to
Well, if
track
that's
everything.
the case, and the Bible's lying.
What I took from that, was that
What?
The Earth's only 10,000 years
Adam
old,
was
according to the
actually
Bible.
made out of Eve's rib.
Maybe. And
300,000
Eve
years
is
later.
a fucking cougar.
Did you know, I can't remember the percentage, but this abnormally large percentage of the world can be traced back to Genghis Khan?
Well, he was a whore.
I mean, yeah, he
Yeah, but
went
I'm saying
around,
he
conquered a lot of
spread his seed all over.
everything,
and
and
we can
then
be tracked back to
yeah,
him.
all those guys that did that, all the big conquerors throughout time. Genghis Khan's probably one of the biggest ones. He conquered the most, or was it Alexander?
Alexander did the most, but he was the first to conquer all of Asia.
Yeah,
Yeah, but he did it through war and stuff, whereas Genghis Khan was more guerrilla-like, I guess.
well, he was guerrilla-like in a way. He brought himself into, and he
But he-
learned everything about the culture before
See,
he
was
took
a
it over.
warlord. Alexander was an actual emperor.
Yeah,
That's the difference. He had his own country, and Genghis Khan made his own country.
I mean, the dude was pretty smart. He wasn't like stupid when it comes to conquering stuff. He did it politically first. Like, he gave people the options.
You're talking about Genghis Khan or Alexander?
Yeah, no, not Alexander.
Alexander didn't give him options.
No.
But no, Genghis. Yeah,
Alexander movie has been redone into like a 4-hour film.
I saw that.
It's in my watch list.
I haven't watched it yet, but I saw that.
So I'll just talk about peeing. I actually have to go. So I will buy drinks.
Yeah.
You guys want something?
Yep.
Yeah.
We'll go grab Penis Con and go pee.
Pina Salada.
I'll be back. I'm back. Here you guys go.
Thanks,
Hey,
man.
there you go.
Thanks.
Nothing. So I was thinking about this while I'm walking around of how much time we spent on this watch talking about Richards. But I actually have a legit question. When we were talking about dreams, like which one came first, like the dream or
Well, we
real
all
life?
know Drew came first.
Hell yeah.
That's pretty funny. But I actually want to talk about that because
The dream or the what?
or real life. Because I'm in a chapter in
Okay.
my psychology class that I'm working on. And we had just talked about a psychological response versus physiological response.
Okay.
The question is, which one comes first? And of course, we're talking about like
Me.
nanoseconds time. But let's say a dog starts barking at you, right? And is approaching you. Do you get stressed out?
No.
I want to pet the dog.
Okay. A snake,
Nope.
a
I want to pet
rhinoceros,
the snake.
Nope.
a tiger,
Nope.
Ooh.
a murder hornet.
Nope.
Ooh, nope.
Nothing scares you?
No.
You're falling out the sky.
I've actually seen murder hornets before in real life. In Japan.
I mean, at least I'm gonna have a cool sensation before I
A-
hit the ground.
He's going to beat his dick on the way down.
Okay, point is, something stresses you out.
Disappointment scares me.
Do you...
Okay, so you see disappointment coming at you
Yeah,
first.
disappointment's coming your way.
Okay.
Your parents are going, I'm
scared."
not mad.
I'm not mad."
just. And you're like, oh, no.
So do you get stressed out, and then that causes you to sweat, and your pupils dilate, and your heart
Cortisol.
rate?
Cortisol.
Or does a dog barking at you, running at you, make you have a fight or flight response, so your pupils dilate so you can see better, your heart races so that way you can react faster, and then those physiological responses make you have the feeling of being stressed out? Like, which comes first?
The physiological things happen immediately.
Perhaps. But it's not a measurable way to actually determine which happens first. Because you could argue Physiological is going to come straight from your spinal cord as a reaction, right?
Yes. Well, it also depends
Like if you
on
touch
how
something
you're-
hot and you
it depends
have
on
to,
how you're wired too. Everyone's wired different.
is it a wiring
So
thing?
I think
Because
like,
or does your brain have to see the attack, interpret it, and then respond to it?
I think a good
via-
example of this is always, you know, how people say like you don't know how you're going to react in certain situations till you're in a certain situation. A good example of how people are wired differently is if you're crossing the street and a car comes barreling down on you, most people will say that they will jump and get out of the way. But a very large portion of the population will not be able to process quick enough and they'll freeze because they'll get overloaded.
Right, but I'm not necessarily talking about fight or flight.
I see what you're saying. So
I'm talking about like
I think it depends on the situation because, so say you're scared of dogs, like in your example, right? You're trying to determine which comes first. I think it kind of depends on what you saw first. Like, did you see the dog before it started barking, or was the dog running after you barking and then you keyed up on it? See what I'm saying?
I mean, maybe, but again, we're talking nanoseconds because if you see it, is it an immediate reaction?
Well,
to
that's what I'm
where
saying.
you
It kinda
get that
depends.
heightened awareness first, and then you feel like, oh shit, I'm stressed out. Oh, now I need to react, but your body's already in
I
reaction
think
mode
it could be a different situation
before
for
your
both.
brain.
Because if I see the dog before it comes after me, and I stress out because I'm scared of dogs, then it's psychological. But if I react to a dog coming after me and I notice it while it's coming after me, it could be physiological.
Yeah, say if you have an innate fear of dogs, let's say so you had some childhood trauma with a dog and you're fucking terrified of dogs now, then I would say it starts psychological. But if you don't have that fear of dogs right off the bat, but you see the dog coming at you, you know it's going to attack you, then I think it becomes more physiological.
Yeah, I would agree on that.
Okay, so the reason why I asked this is when you brought up dreams, is which one happened first, is because I've had dreams before where an entire scenario based, like the full 30-minute driving through the mountainside, and I'm looking at all the trees and the rivers.
in your real life.
Yeah.
Right, but in my dream, right, I'd have like a whole afternoon excursion, an adventurous ride in the Jeep. A bear jumps out of the woods, jumps onto the hood of the Jeep. I freak out, start swerving back and forth, almost going off the cliff, and I gotta veer back into the mountain, and I'm trying to get the bear to fall off. Only he's not. He's clawing his way up, like Terminator 2, into the window. He smashes his paw through the window, and his claw scrapes my face. And of course, because now I'm partially being mauled, it scares me awake. In real life, what had happened was a blanket fold, or a small pocket of blanket had just tipped over and touched my face. So that means that moment had to have happened, and then my brain interpreted this huge scenario
Yeah.
after the fact.
I think that's coincidental.
I think the
I don't
real
think so.
the real question here is, did I have a dream because I was already masturbating, or did I masturbate because I had a dream?
Well, that's what I was saying. Which one was happening first? Because if you finish in your
Why not
dream,
both?
How,
Well,
what do
it's
you mean?
gonna
How
be
can they
your
both happen
brain.
first?
It's gonna be your dream. Well, yeah, because your brain is gonna work faster. So I said a 30-minute dream was 1 second in real life.
Yeah.
Right.
I think
and we
that
know
ties
that,
into a lot of like, you know how people think that they saw things when they die, and then they come back and they're like, oh, I saw light, I saw my entire family. I think it's actually that millisecond of real life time before you actually die, and you have this vivid dream, and then say you come back, now you think that half a millisecond was like 30 minutes of real life, when actually it was like half a millisecond.
There's a whole documentary on Netflix about this.
Yeah.
is there?
Yep, about seeing the light and what people see when they die.
Oh, I thought you meant the millisecond of dreaming. Because I can't imagine that that's a coincidence, because how would my brain know that a bear is punching through the window? Like, my brain doesn't know that the blanket fold is about to give way to lightly
No,
brush
I
my
think
face.
I think if anything, the blanket hit your face, and in our weird subconscious, like maybe you saw something with a bear on it 3 years ago that just happened to come up in this dream.
Bears beats Battlestar Galactica.
Yep. Exactly.
I have no idea what that means.
It's from The Office.
So, did you guys used to ever pass out in high school or whatever and have sleepovers, slumber parties, and just choke hold each other till you passed out?
Yep.
Okay. And you've
That was
been
the day
passed
that
out
Chris
before.
discovered he was kinky.
So you know that you come to seconds later, right? But during that time,
It's
it
wild.
feels like you slept for 15 hours and had a 15-hour dream that whole time. But you know it's only 3 seconds for real. And that's why I think that the real life happens.
I got one for you
Before
even
the
better
dream.
than that. You ever had a concussion?
I have, actually.
Like an actual no shit, not like, oh, I hit my head and I lost a couple seconds of time. Like, I mean like a real no shit concussion.
Like, I woke up in the hospital not knowing the incident except for what my sister told me.
So then you know.
Retrograde amnesia.
That is fucking weird. Because I had a really bad concussion about 8 years ago now.
I get concussions from drinking too much alcohol sometimes.
There you go.
I've had several of those
No,
concussions.
I had a really bad
That's
concussion,
repercussions.
and I lost like 7 hours of time, right, before I woke up in the hospital. But I remember snippets of what happened between me getting the concussion and me fully waking up, and it genuinely felt like a dream or watching like a movie really, really far away. Like, I still can remember some of those snippets, but I don't remember the entire process from when I got hit to the fully awoken part.
So you're like third person viewing yourself.
Kind of. And it's,
I've done that
it's
before.
fucking
Yeah.
weird. Like, I remember, like, talking to a couple people, and, like, one of the person who gave me a ride to the hospital, everyone around me was asking me, like, hey, what's my name? What's my name? Blah, 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 blah. Like, trying
What
to make sure I
year
was
is it?
conscious. Like, that type of dumb shit.
Who
Like,
are you?
Like,
Who's
that
our
would have
president?
told them anything.
None of this actually happened. He was just listening to Destiny's Child. What's my name? What's my name?
The only reason that stands out of my brain is because the dude who gave me a ride, I couldn't remember
Giggity.
what his name was.
Typical.
And I was like, this isn't because of my head. I'm an idiot and I don't know what your name is. That is like a core memory that stands out in my brain from that day. Because every time I talk to that dude afterwards, he was like, remember what my fucking name is now? I'm like, yeah, dickhead, and I know what your name is now. But at the time, it was like, no, I'm okay. I actually don't know your name.
So there is that documentary I was talking about, like when people are dying, the like out of body experience they have. There was one lady they interviewed, and as she was laying on the table in the hospital dying in surgery, like she was in surgery because she was dying. This is how she explained it. She floated above her body. She could see everyone in the room, and she could name like some of the weird instruments they were using on her during the surgery, like some super off the wall shit that she shouldn't have known. And she woke up and was telling the doctors, like, your name's this, your name's this, you used this instrument and did this on me, like all kinds of crazy shit while she was unconscious on an operating table.
Makes me wonder if, like, because you hear about, like, how people go under and they put them to sleep before surgeries,
But they're not really asleep.
but they're not really asleep.
Well, she said
I don't know if it was out of body.
Well, she
Oh,
was.
God,
She
you ever
said
seen
she
that
was
movie?
like floating above her body. She was looking
Yeah.
down onto the.
I would say
the
that was
operating
probably the
table.
drugs.
Yeah, well,
Probably.
what if she is
No, but she was
able to
she was
hear
brain
it?
dead. No, she was clinically brain dead.
By the instruments that were measuring whatever they measure.
Yep.
But I think
She had
like,
zero brain activity for 20 minutes.
Jesus.
that they were aware of.
Yeah.
But if
Obviously.
she's like subconsciously hearing it and, hey, Doc Thompson, hand me the scalpel, and she just knows that,
It
but then
it wasn't
a way to interpret it, like to
You're
put it
talking like
into-
very specific.
It was very
like,
specific, like pieces of equipment that are very like not well-known names, and she pointed them out too.
I remember one that was weird when I was
So
really
would you say you're a
young.
believer then?
I don't know.
That's so weird. Like, I would like that to believe there's something else. I just don't.
I guess we'll find out when.
Yeah, but you're talking about two different things. You're talking about like a believer in afterlife as opposed to
Whoa.
a believer in what could be considered a paranormal out-of-body
Which would say that
experience.
there's something in the afterlife.
I mean, obviously, she didn't die. It would be more paranormal because she's back now.
Yeah. But I think that whole split second thing that we go through in our dreams, where I've lived out years of a dream before and woke up and I've been asleep for maybe an hour.
Have you ever seen like brain scans of people that are like dying? What their brain looks like? It looks like completely lit
It's all
up.
black, right?
No, it's completely lit up. Like everything's firing at once because you're dying.
Body's panicking.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's like a last-minute seizure.
I remember one
That's
that messed me
possible.
up a little bit when I was a kid was we had a youth counselor at the church that he died. He had like a heart attack or something. I don't remember what it was now, but he was legitimately dead.
The
And
child
they had-
was?
No, the youth counselor.
Oh.
Like legitimately dead on the table type thing. And they brought him back. And he got really weird after that because he said that
He can't.
on the other side he didn't see anything, he didn't remember anything, there was no lights, there was no people, there was nothing, it was just black. And that messed him up and he never came back to the church. Like he basically his entire faith and everything got shook after that.
So they're also in this documentary. They have this like group of people because they say after you have this near-death experience where you see crazy shit, crazy things happen to you, you have a harder time relating like to people that haven't had that experience, kind of that seeing the other side type thing. So they have this whole like big group where they go and talk about all their things that they saw. Like some of them say they just completely shut off from everyone in their life because they can't relate to anything.
Man,
They
I
have to-
wish
Makes
we
sense.
had somebody like that
Yeah.
that we could talk to that had been through something like this. I bet that'd be a really interesting conversation.
I think what's more interesting, though, is people are finding in these groups, typically you're going to find like-minded people.
Yes.
But as we've heard the documentary shows people that had these out-of-body experiences, there's that. But then your youth counselor where everything just went black, I doubt that they mingle together because there's
They
so
do.
many stories on
They're
those
not
different
all
polarizing.
like rainbow and sunshine out about it. They're like it's across all, like some just like I said, we're an empty void kind of thing. Like this group is like everyone that's had any
Like the
kind of
upside down.
experience. Yeah.
You know what is really funny to think about is imagine for a minute there's a whole group of people that say that they saw like all types of cool shit when they were like that, but they were full of shit. And
Yeah.
now they're hanging out with a whole nother group of people that they know are also full of shit, but they're all acting like they're not.
It's called what is that called? Sociopath.
Yeah, I can see it.
So I wonder if it's black because it's
Because his eyes
nothing.
were closed. Because there was no light. Because his eyes were closed.
Well, what I'm saying is, was it black because it was empty, or is it
He was in
black
hell.
like? Have you ever seen that shit movie with Scarlett Johansson where she's like an alien? And
Under the
Avengers?
skin.
yes, where it's just.
You get to see her naked. I have
Emptiness.
watched it many times.
But you know how she's like just in the. It's open, but it's dark.
But it's water.
But I wonder. Well, yeah, but only for like an inch or so.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about the infinite space. God knows how long around her. I wonder if that's the blackness. That it's just empty, dark space, or is it a like your eyes are closed and it's just a blank screen with nothing else beyond it? Does that make sense?
Yep. I'm tracking. I don't know. I guess y'all, one of y'all try to kill me, and I'll let you know what happens.
All I know is that I'm not going to be able to
Nope.
easily fall asleep tonight, so I'm going to have to rub one out before I go to bed.
You're gonna be thinking about how to dream for real and not.
He's
lucid
going to do
dream?
the autoerotic asphyxiation and actually try to kill himself while he's jerking off to see what happens. He's like,
Maybe.
I don't know what those words mean, but I'm gonna try it.
Auto
If my neck is bruised
asphyxiation, that's
tomorrow-
like wanting to bang a car, right?
I want a car to choke me.
That's like sucking a tailpipe while you're jerking
my
off.
strange addiction.
Auto,
where-
auto asphyxiation.
Dude. Could you not even just like that?
That would
like
kill
the,
you.
Not
would
obviously.
literally
not the
kill you.
sexual part. Could you imagine if like you saw somebody like get their mouth shoved onto a tailpipe and just got held there while they're like hitting the gas? Jesus,
That would be
Christ.
very painful.
What were you
Oh my
talking about the
God.
sociopaths for?
No, I'm saying
You're
like
talking
that's
about like varying.
No, that's a psychopath.
That's a
Yeah.
sociopath. The people that are saying they've had these near-death experiences.
usually
but
for
they know they're full
attention
of shit,
stuff
and they're
like
hanging
that,
out with
yeah.
a bunch of other people that are saying they had near-death experiences, but they also know they're full of shit, and they're all pretending like everything's
Imagine
cool.
working with the guy that's in the shop that no matter how great your story is, that one person always has well, that reminds me of that one time when I was like a kid.
When I was the king of
And
Thailand.
yeah, my story's way better than yours. So I'm going to make sure I say it after you. One-uppers. Those are sociopaths.
I don't know if that's necessarily a sociopath.
It is.
Sociopath typically more so does something. Well, I guess in a way
It is because
you
you're trying to
you
fit
could
in.
kind of see
it's,
that.
Yeah.
It's the fit in.
It is.
Be
Well, you
in
also
the-
have
yeah.
like a lack of feelings and
It's like a weird fit
Remorse.
in while also trying to stand out.
Yeah.
Sociopaths typically don't just fit in; they try to be superior.
Well, that's what I'm
either
saying.
way,
It's a one-upper.
I think it's a very
I can see
psychopathic
that.
Yeah.
or sociopathic thing for you to deter this conversation. Going back to what I was talking about is you're thinking of this
Cobra.
this murderous method.
Mhm.
You're like, have you guys
So
ever
let me
thought
explain to
about
you
this
why.
way,
Let
like
me explain to you why.
hostile or
You ever-
And I
You ever
feel
wanted
like
to see somebody bite a curb?
I feel like I'm gonna make a terrible mistake by saying this to
Well,
you guys.
fucking say it. We're all friends here.
However, I am the type of person that if you say something, I picture it. I can't not do it. So when he said the like sucking a tailpipe while jerking off, that went through my head. And then instead of the jerking off thing, it went like, oh my God, could you imagine? Like that sounds like something that would be out of a movie. But
Like a chick laying over the edge of the bed.
Oh,
You know. And then,
yeah,
yeah.
I know where you're going with that.
Yep.
man. But if you say something,
but there's a Ford Fiero in the room, too.
At 4,500
Oh, God.
RPMs.
no.
It's got a Cossie
But
in
if
the
you
middle.
say something like, "Oh yeah, think about this," my fucking brain does it. I can't turn it off. I hate it so much because there's some things like that I'll be like, "Oh, that's fucked up."
Human centipede.
I've seen the movie.
Just trying to get you to picture that
So what,
again.
what you're saying is you're a yes man because someone says think of this and you're like, okay.
What? That's stupid. That goes back to your original thing about
Yeah,
like.
go back to the drawing board on that one
Yeah.
there, buddy.
All right,
that-
sorry.
It was a good attempt. We'll
I
come
make-
back to you in 5 minutes. See if you
I
got something better.
sincerely apologize
faith
for
in
my
you.
misdeeds here.
That goes back to that whole, is it the mind that does it? Or the mind jumps ahead for me. There's literally in times that I'm like, no! And the brain's already processed it. It's like, that's terrible. You should never think about that again. Yeah.
But I think there's a lot of times where people think of extremely morbid things or like horrific things. They're like, oh my God, why did I just think about that?
Because that's
Yeah.
And then
human
dismiss
nature.
it.
Humans are destructive in nature.
Mhm.
So, how many times do
And
people
horny.
pretend like they don't also do the same thing?
Like all you fuckers sitting here
Deflect.
acting like you don't jerk off at night. Like, yeah, that's a great example.
I'm not saying I don't jerk off at night. I just don't do it while I'm sleeping. Jinx.
Or right before I go.
Owe me
to
a
bed.
fresca.
Yeah. Owe me a Coke. Like,
Got
I'm
nothing.
I'm a middle
No,
of
I was
the
just sitting
day.
there thinking, like, there's been so many times that I've woken up in the middle of the night, like mid jerk off, and I'm like,
Well,
I don't
might
have
as
time
well
for this.
finish now.
No, usually it's like, I don't have time for this. I'm going back to sleep. And then I just completely ignore it. Or there's times that you're like, well, I'm already here. Might as well finish it
Yeah.
off.
You might want to.
40% there.
I would
Isn't it
consider
weird
going.
how as dudes you can kind of put like a gauge on that?
Oh,
you're like,
absolutely.
I'm
Oh.
63% of the way. All right, I'm past the 50% part.
But if you use your dominant hand, it's like a Tesla supercharger.
No, it's the
It's
offhand.
like it's gonna be.
Nope, you got to use the offhand. Totally hits it totally different. You gotta
Sit
think
on-
about it.
it's
If you
gotta
get
sit on your hand
dominant
first.
side, you're kind of. It's like rubbing a fucking callus on one side. You got to think of it that way. You're kind of desensitizing that side, so you use the other hand.
It's
and
like yeah.
totally hit.
It's like if you
different.
sit on your hand until it goes numb.
Fucking stranger.
Yeah.
Speaking of hands
See,
going
Leon
numb,
knows.
I've had this issue lately. Where
Go
my
to the
hands-
fucking hospital, Chris. I've heard this story from you 10 times. Why have you not gone to the ER?
He's got a point. I think you both need to go. He can go to the 5th floor and talk about his sleep beating with the doc. You can go talk about your numb fingers. Your numb diddle fingers. I think you need to take each other, go down to
Do you
Bill's.
have neck pain?
No, I mean, I always do.
Do you have chest pain?
No,
Like a pinching neck pain?
I do all the time.
my
What
neck
about a
hurts.
pinching shoulder pain?
Stop pinching your neck.
All the time.
It's down both my arms, so I would assume it's going to be
It's
in
your
my neck.
vertebrae, yeah.
But I'm always having to stretch my neck forward.
Did I just hear your
I-
neck pop?
That was my right shoulder.
Oh, I was like,
My left shoulder does that.
He pulled his head forward against his chest,
But I'm always having to stretch.
and his toe popped. It's just weird.
it was weird. I don't understand how the body connects.
That's how you know you're old.
It's written into my DNA code.
I actually dealt with really bad shoulder
I bet
and
you
neck
have a
pain over the
slip
weekend.
disc.
in my
I might.
neck.
Yep.
I don't know what would have caused it. I didn't.
Being old.
Old, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I
I've
bent
actually
down
thought
to
for a
pick
while I
weed.
might have the
It's,
same
it's
thing.
just a breakdown of the cartilage between your vertebrae and causes the disc to slide one way or the other. And
Or
obviously, you know your spinal
slip.
cord's there, and it pinches it.
The cord or just like the nerve.
Well, the
Nearby.
cord is a nerve.
It's a bunch of nerves.
Yeah.
Well, but you know what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
the one nerve attached to that one vertebrae.
The one
Either way,
nerve
it's
attached
annoying.
to the one vertebrae.
Because my arms and my fingers feel like they're tingling all the time.
That could also be a sign of diabetes too. So you might want to get
Diabetes.
tests run.
I actually just had tests ran.
Yeah.
I should probably ask about that.
Yep.
Diabetes.
Diabetes.
It's not in my legs, just my arms. My elbows hurt because every time I straighten out my arm, I feel the rush of blood like forcefully going by.
Or maybe you're on the verge of having a heart attack.
Somebody start punching his chest.
It's been like a week now.
Don't worry, I got the nitro in my pocket. If you do, just give you a couple squirts in your mouth.
Yeah, you will.
Nitroglycerin. At your age, I would
What?
carry some with me all the time.
Why do you have nitroglycerin in your pocket?
Have you never been hit with nitroglycerin in the
No.
mouth? Oh man, it's the weirdest feeling ever. It instantly like thins your blood and gives you the biggest head rush ever.
That's fair.
All right, boys. Are we about to get off this watch or what?
I hope so. I gotta go fucking rub.
You know those.
I got a date with a very.
Then you're gonna be
large
out for like
vampire
3
lady.
hours.
That's okay.
I'll wait till
Shit to do
morning.
tomorrow.
I'll hit it up in the morning right when I first wake up. Then I'll be good to go the rest of the day. You'll see me flying tomorrow. I'm gonna get so much work done tomorrow.
Lady Dimitrescu is calling my name.
And I
need
could
to
use
go.
my dominant hand because with all the numbness and tingling,
Did you play
it's
that?
like a stranger anyway.
Is it any good?
Mhm.
I just bought it yesterday. Downloaded it. Took forever to download it from the shop, but
Yeah, I'm probably like 2 hours in right now
What
Like-
are you talking about?
the new Resident Evil.
with Lady Dimitrescu, 9'6", giant curvy vampire lady.
Yeah. Did you see the mod where they put in Thomas the Train as the head?
Also Barney.
Oh. that
And
is-
there's already nude mods for her and her daughters. Does not
I
surprise
haven't
me. The internet
looked
is
at her in that such a way, but
the rest of the internet has.
yeah. I assume the rest of the internet has.
The rest of the virgins have seen her that way.
Yeah. I remember one person, it was some documentary, was talking about when VR was just starting to come into the thing and how it wasn't good, but it was starting. And there's 2 questions you ask with any new technology. And the first question is, how do I have sex with it?
Or make porn out of it.
Yeah. How do I sexualize this?
Speaking of which, I'm gonna bring my VR headset in for you to try one day, buddy.
Fuck yeah, man.
It is mine.
Are you gonna have it mailed to you or something?
No, I have it down in the shop. I just haven't charged it in a while.
So where are you gonna bring? We're all in the same shop now. Why isn't that just sitting out so we can all use it?
Because it's not charged.
I don't. Put it on the fucking charger. Put it in the middle of the room.
I like to sleep with it on so that when I do wake up and have my nighttime stuff,
So your dream comes first.
I come first. Nah, that's a
All
lie. I
right,
come
here's my
first.
relief. I'm leaving.
Yeah. Let's get that. This is gross.
All right.
I need to rinse this conversation out with my mouth
Yeah, I need to rinse my ears out.
with peroxide.
All right,
Later,
laters.
haters.
As always, thanks for listening. If you're enjoying the show, please go and rate a review. It really does help the show out. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at UNAS Midwatch Podcast or Twitter at UNAS Midwatch. Leave us a message or a word that Drew has to look up. CMG Doom, played by Robert Williams. Fully Petty Soldier, Chris Pike, played by Christopher Sharp. Second Sergeant Drew Scrolls, played by Andrew Mingione. Second Sergeant Leon, played by Chris Short. Logo created by Natascha Mingione. Music owned by James Clifford, created by Ian Host and Ride Free. Thank you for listening to UMass Midwatch.